and what some of those things. Okay, amen. um, and just to talk about a little bit um, about how we can fit into this space. And I know a lot of you, from what I'm understanding, a lot of folks are kind of new to the 10 days of connection. So there may be a little bit of angst and anxiety, and understand that there is not a need to be anxious. But so I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Nicole Crooks, and as Lasana mentioned, I wear a lot of different hats in the community. Today, I'm going to be sharing from the perspective of someone who works closely with Share Our America, which is an initiative that is in a few states and currently growing. And our goal is to really bridge divides and to have people come together, share food, share experiences, and just talk and get to know one another from our areas of difference, understanding our difference, but celebrating our similarities. And so it's a perfect marriage or collaboration with the 10 days of connection, of which I just love. So we will just start there and we can move on to the next slide. And so, in kind of settling and grounding ourselves, wanting to do a couple of things. And we're going to take a moment to get to know one another. And this is going to be similar to the connection experiences, because a lot of times people are coming to the connection experiences, they're not really understanding exactly what they're in store for. There may be a little bit of nerves, especially when we talk about um, connecting across differences. And so, if we just settle and ground with some of our commonalities or things that we have in getting to know one another, we can start there. And so, if everyone would just briefly thinking about like super quick, and either you can put it in the chat or you can raise your hand and say it out loud. I think if we say it out loud, we'll take maybe about 4 people saying it out loud to share what your name is, what brought you here today, what role you play in the community, and one thing from the last year that's made you feel proud. Okay. And so please feel free, maybe the first 4 people to raise their hand, we can have you share. And if everyone else would please just place it in the chat. All right. Now, the first person I see is Patrice. How are
Hey,
you?
everybody. How are you? Good morning.
Good
I'm very
morning.
happy to be here. I represent the Bold Beauty Project, and I was invited by my dear friend and colleague, Carrie Grusin from Thumbs Up. So I'm happy to be here because I'm learning some new things and meeting new people and representing the Bold Beauty Project, which is a Miami-based nonprofit where we pair women with disabilities with award-winning photographers around the world and do exhibitions. So I would say what I'm most proud of this year, actually 2023, because it's the beginning of this year, 2024, is that we had 2 beautiful exhibitions around the country. One at Columbia University, bringing university students into the understanding of what disability means and what it doesn't mean. And also another 2-week exhibition in New York and one in LA. And the thing I'm most proud of is we have an invitation to go to the Venice Biennale with the Bold Beauty Project exhibition in Venice, Italy for 2026. So thank you for hearing
That's
our.
amazing. Thank you. And I see some folks sharing in the chat. Thank you. Right. All right. Are there any more hands? Am I missing any hands? No? Okay. Well, thank you. So grateful for you. So grateful to have this opportunity to be here. So I just want to start by thanking Radical Partners for inviting me, and above all else, for having this powerful connection every year in May from the 1st through the 10th. So this is something that's super exciting. And just keep on elevating things in the chat, and then we can move on to the next slide, y'all. Thank you. All right. So you, as connection keepers, are charged with helping to create our beloved community, like Dr. Martin Luther King used to talk about. And that is allowing everyone to know how much they are seen, and that they matter, that we matter, that we are interconnected to one another, and just relishing in the joy of that, right? And so a lot of times with that, with our being the connection keepers or culture keepers, sometimes we need to kind of shake off the nerves a little bit and really start the process by first and foremost managing expectations of the gathering, right? Understanding that this is an appetizer, right? Like you don't have to come and bring the whole all the courses, right? This doesn't have to be a 5-course meal. But what it is an appetizer, and it's an entry into being able to connect with community members that you may or may not really have access to, or think about joining together with. And so really we just want to take the time to manage your expectations. It's not that serious. It's serious, but it's not that serious. So just really being able to manage the expectations that this is one gathering in the midst of many more that we hope for. But just to kind of be easy with yourself and go with the flow, be a bit like water, and enjoy the process, right? Another thing is, a lot of times with these connections, and I know especially, well, no, I have to be honest. I think every year I always have concerns because I'm like, what's going to happen? What are some of the things that might happen? And so I want to open the floor up to maybe 2 people to share out loud. And if anyone else would like to share within the chat, what are some of the biggest concerns that you have? Maybe fears or just not knowings, and maybe some of the things that may be coming up for you that you may want to elevate in this moment or share. Anyone? Do we have any returners? I'm curious. Yes. Would someone be willing to, from who is a returner and maybe thinking about your first connection, what was a concern that you may have had?
I think that the biggest concern was not getting people to understand why we were there and what our goal was. That my first event was with connecting veterans with our politicians. So that was a very interesting event, but it turned out to be very powerful. But the biggest concern was, okay, how do I get them to talk and know that we're just here to be humans for the next hour? But it was awesome.
I love that. Thank you so much for
Nicole,
sharing.
can you hear me?
I can. Hey, Pam.
Okay, hi, this is Pamela Lear, and I cannot figure out how to get my hand raised, so I just called out.
Yes, that's okay? Good. Yes, that's okay. Perfect.
Okay, good. I'm with Temple Beth and we are working on a big project we call Unbiased, which is focused on trying to eliminate as much bias and hate in our neighborhoods and communities as we can. And the project that we're doing, this is our first year here, so loving learning about everything. And the project we're doing is we're creating a gathering between some of the synagogue members and some of the members of a Baptist church. Dan is in Perrine, I believe. And we're going to be going to their church and we're going to be eating a meal together. And then we're going to have a prayer service where we're going to have both Jewish elements and Christian elements that come together. And my concerns are twofold. One is that I know this is a ridiculous problem to have, but we're afraid there are going to be too many people that want to come and we won't be able to accommodate them all. So that's actually a problem because we've got people from the congregations and then we've also got people from the outside that we want to have to join. We want them to be able to join also. So that's really my first problem, I guess. And then the second is I'm just nervous because I don't know what to expect. I don't know what it's going to be like, so I'm just nervous about that.
Thank you for sharing that. And I can definitely understand. And the other thing is that there are going to be a lot of unknowns, right? There are going to be a lot of unknowns with the process. And I think overwhelmingly it is about really trusting the process, right? Just like trusting the process, knowing that as we go in, we are going to absolutely be able to, there are going to be some new things, and we have the space to make mistakes and then regroup and get it right. And I see you, Rocio. Hi, Rocio. Um, and maybe we will also have space to kind of discuss and share within the group for everyone to kind of share some ideas um, based on other experiences on in terms of especially the numbers and coming up with creative solutions to that. I think we can definitely put our heads together and kind of wrap our heads around supporting you through that process. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
absolutely. Yes, thank you. You are not alone. All right, Rocio, I'll turn it to you and then we will move on. Welcome. It's so good to see you.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. So great to see you, Nicole.
Good to see you.
So one of the things that I wanted to share, we've been doing this for many years now. Every year we tried as the Children's Movement of Florida to partner with a new partner, someone that has not experienced the 10 days before, and we have been successful about that. This year, we're having a little bit of a challenge. We're going to do something very different. All our events have been more targeted to community-based audience and people that are more familiar with these topics and issues, and specifically early childhood in our field. But this year, we want to do an event for business owners. And that has been like shifting a lot of the way we work. And it's been challenging to, as Julissa was saying, getting the right message to them so that they understand what we're trying to do here and how to make this call in a way that is compelling to them, right? So we have confidence that we're gonna anyways do the event. We don't really have finalized the partnerships we're looking for, but I am hopeful that we will get a very good event, and we will start to have these kind of conversations also with business leaders and the role they play in our community. In our perspective, specifically the support they provide to parents with young children as their employees, and what they do for our youngest learners in the community. So that's how we want to frame the conversation. But it's just having that in front of you, how hard it is to open a conversation that apparently is easy to have, but it's not easy to have, right? And how you make it smooth and in all the process, from the planning to the result of the event. We've done other events where we bring a professional, as Radical Partners had always recommended. If you're doing a medium to tough conversation, bring a professional with you, so that if anything happens at the event. And we've done that, and we've needed that. But this time, I know that we're dealing with a intense event, but I don't know if bringing a professional is, mental health professional at least, is the best way to manage that. So I need to think of being creative in several different things, because it's the first time we're doing something like this. Yep.
Thank you for that.
I
And
would say so.
it would be awesome for us to be able to kind of move through that a little bit more, as to kind of get specifics, Rocio, so that you're able to have all of the support necessary to move forward with the discussion. Just a little bit more clarity. And so just wanting to honor the time that we have here together, and just really wanting to honor the time that we're here together, and knowing that we have a frequently asked questions too. So questions that come up here, I know will be able to be added to that list, and we'll have more space to kind of brainstorm and think about specific things a little bit later. So thank you, Rocio. And Dr. Ray, I see you. Is
Hi,
it
how are
possible?
you?
Hi, hi, how are you?
Oh,
Welcome,
well, thank
welcome.
you.
And I'd love to ask if, for the time being, is it possible to place your concern in the chat, and then we can circle back to it as we move through? And anyone else?
Sure, no problem. Yeah, that's
Is that
fine.
okay? Okay,
Yeah, that's fine.
thank you. Thank you for being here.
Sure.
All right. And then the third thing that we're going to talk about as we talk about creating our beloved community and our beloved connection is really managing our emotions and managing the energy that we are bringing to the space, because the people that are going to join in on our connections are really going to feed off of our energy. And so it's going to be really important for us to ground and center, and make sure that we are in a space of groundedness, and make sure that we are in a space of connection with ourselves, so that we are able to bring peace into the situation to help calm a lot of the nerves of the other people. In terms, like we talk about, Rocio was talking about early childhood, and in early childhood, we talk a lot about co-regulation. And so for the caregiver to be able to have a sense of regulation, self-regulation, so that when we're dealing with young people, we're able to help them co-regulate from a space of peace. And so I think that's also something that I would love to share, is just some activities for mindfulness. I saw Lucretia on here. She's the queen of mindfulness. So I don't know who wants to connect with her and Rooted in Love and Truth. Just a little shout out. But we will definitely move through those things, and just understanding that the reality is that we're not doing brain surgery. And so our gatherings are not going to be life or death. Prayerfully, listen, no, they're not going to be life or death. So just really being able to take it slow, take it easy, ground in the moment, and be present. All right, we can move on. The other piece is, when we talk about, especially with the complex conversations, we want to start with a very strong foundation. And in the context of conversations and connections, one of the most important aspects of that is to be very clear about what the communication agreements are going to be. And I just have here some of the ones that we use with Share Our America. And it's really important to think about co-creating it also with community members. So this is an offering. These are not necessarily ones that you would need to absolutely use. We have found them to be very helpful and to be able to draw back on them as conversations go on and reminding people of the agreements that we made up front. And so oftentimes when we're talking about things where there's an emotional charge to it, sometimes we get into a space where we find ourselves speaking for a whole entire group, or always and never and all of these absolutes. And so really grounding in the space of understanding, when we show up to this space, we are agreeing to speak for ourselves and allow others to speak for themselves, and understand that there's no pressure to represent an entire group. We couldn't do it anyway, right? And it's very specific to us. And thinking about our assumptions as we're asking questions, and think about honoring people's dignity and humanity as we move forward, allowing one mic so that everyone is able to speak one at a time. A lot of times in these conversations, depending on how long your connection is going to be as you've pre-planned it, thinking about each of the questions needs to have a time limit. I've been in situations where we've gone very long because we didn't really consider for that. And being able to firmly yet really compassionately be clear about what the limitations and the boundaries are for the communications, right? And also recognizing sometimes people are going to come into the connection and they just want to observe. And that's okay. And just allowing the space for people to be 100% themselves, as long as it is not harming other people. Understanding also that the confidentiality factor is important, and being clear about, this is a space, please take the information and the learnings that you've had throughout this session, please take those with you, but we ask for confidentiality and not telling people's names, and being honest and clear that this is not a legally binding situation either. So as much as we want to be able to honor the space, understanding that we want to have these commitments, and recognizing that there also has to be a level of comfort with knowing who you're in the room with, okay? And just, I think one of the biggest things and one of the most important things is, as someone who is holding the space and holding the container, is to make sure that we're staying present and asking others to bring their presence, and allowing space for grace and good intentions. Right? Thank you. We can go. Yes, Luisana, please.
I love this, Nicole, and I wanted to share that, like, some tips, or one thing that we do here at RP, usually on our workshops or spaces that we share with people, is that we set up like a few norms or ethos right at the beginning. So that's like very tied to what we do as an organization and how do we want people to feel within the space. So that also could be one tip that you all can do during the connection experiences, like doing it right before the experience starts. Like, how do we want to have like these conversations happen, or spaces?
Yeah, love that. Thank you. Okay, so just to be a little bit more concrete, in terms of how we ask questions, and understanding that our conversations are really to kind of ground and get to know other people, understand what people are thinking, and so on and so forth. What it is not is a place to grill, and berate folks. So it's really allowing the space for people to speak their own personal beliefs. And so a lot of times when we look at how we want to move forward, it really is from a place of curiosity and understanding, a desire to understand and learn more about a person and more about their beliefs, and asking for more detail or clarity when we don't understand, rather than being in a space where the attacking happens. And so that is also one of the spaces that's so important about the norms and the communication agreements, that we're able to pull back on and kind of pause and take a deep breath. Like if things start to get a little heavy, just let's take a deep breath and ground into where we are and remember what we agreed to initially. And then we really start to say, okay, so we listen, we are curious, we would like to hear more. There's a space for being quiet. And oftentimes, if things start to kind of get ramped up, if you're noticing that things are getting ramped up a little bit, it's always good to take a pause and to breathe and to take a space where there's that mindfulness, where oxygen can actually get to the brain. Sometimes when we're in the midst of what we feel is an attack, we stop breathing, we hold our breath, right? And then we really don't move forward from a healed or place of grace. And so these are things that we can ask more of when we start to see that we are not in line with something that someone else may be saying, or like, okay, well, tell me more about that. Can you describe it more? And so just really getting curious about that. Are there any questions, or is there any feedback that maybe a person would like to share to kind of bring this to light a little bit more?
I want to say that so I'm also a Share Our America facilitator, and I know that sometimes like the framework, it seems so simplistic, but the robust conversations that come out of these meetings can be amazing. It can help cause people who would normally be on opposite sides. And I think this, even before Share America, Nicole and I had an experience in North Dade a few years ago, that just the conversation around and having people voice their opinion and understand that, yes, we may disagree, we may not see eye to eye on a subject, but at the end of the day, the common cause that brought us here to have the discussion really does open up the space for understanding, learning, and hopefully growing empathy in all that are present. So I thank y'all for the workshop.
Thank you, Lucretia. Yes. All right.
I wanted to
maybe-
say, I
Go ahead.
also wanted to say that oftentimes when we're doing even presentations here at the library, when you ask for questions, a lot of times people get up and they don't have questions. They actually have comments and feedback. And I think that's part of the boundaries also, and the clarity that we have to, let people know in the beginning. Because sometimes people get up and they just want to speak and they want to be heard, and that's fine. But in the interest of time, people need to be real clear on the boundaries for comments, whether they be, questions or feedback.
So real. So real.
Yeah, real quick, also some of us that look for pre and post tests, it could be very simple, like even in that case, to do like a pre and a post, and on the post you have like a 5 questions, and they are able to then say some of what other comments they may have, because it could lead to future presentations for your organization.
Mm-hmm. Great point. Yeah.
Yes. Yes, always have, if you're in person and even offering people that are virtual, if it's a virtual convening, please ask them to have paper and pen handy so that they're able to write down any questions or concerns or comments that they have that there may not be space for in that moment. Thank you for that. All right, we can move forward. Thank you. All right, so what we're going to do now is that we're going to really put this experience to the test, and we're going to practice. And so, all right, my people from Radical Partners, about how many groups are we going to do? Like, how many people will be in each of the groups that we're able to separate into?
We have right now between 4 to 5 people. Do you want to do less?
Per group?
Yeah.
Okay, that'll work.
Mhm.
All right, so, and we're gonna do it kind of fast, just in light of time. I'm just trying to honor folks' time, and just complete transparency. That's not necessarily my ministry, right? I would love to be here all day with you, but I know we have things to do. So we're going to break into groups, and groups of 4 to 5 people. Please take into consideration this question, and I know that it sounds fast, and it is, but if everyone can think about this question to share a personal experience that you've had, just to give the group an understanding of what a safe community is, it looks like, or feels like to you. And then within that question, think about, and where are the spaces in which you feel strongly about that? And where are the areas that you're not so clear about, or not so sure about your stance on what that means to live in a safe community? Is that clear? Okay. And so what we're going to do is, within these groups, we're going to ask for one person to volunteer to be the facilitator that is clear about just honoring those spaces and allowing people to speak. And if one of the agreements is kind of pushed up against, the boundary of that is pushed up against, to kind of pull people back by just reminding them of what the agreements were, to pull them back into the moment. Another person, if you can be willing to be a timekeeper. And so we're going to keep each of these things to a minute or less. Okay. So when we get into the group, we'll do that and then shift. And let's do it where whoever is the timekeeper will become the speaker, and whoever is the facilitator will become the timekeeper, but we'll keep shifting like that. Does that make sense? I don't know. I just thought about that right now. Is that okay? Hopefully we'll get it done, and we will be back within the next 5 minutes. All right. Okay. Thank you, y'all. Part of the time ministry. So just reflections. If we can have one person share out loud, and then anyone else to just share in the chat some of their experiences with that experience. How did it feel?
Rushed.
Absolutely. So we'll have more time, but just to get an idea for, and a lot of times that's what happens if we're thinking about the time element, Pam. Oh my gosh, because there's so many things that people want to say, and we want to say, and we want to hear, and all of the things, and then the time.
So I'll just say that our group was great, and we talked. I think everyone talked a lot about workplaces and how we feel safe in them, and how other places that create safe places that create safe space. Yeah, and so I think there was a lot of interaction on that kind of thing, and it was really good for me to hear.
Oh, I love that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
Well,
Moppy. Oh, go ahead. Am I missing somebody?
yeah, no, I just wanted to share, the time was definitely limited, but I feel like we or a common theme was around people feeling seen and being able to express their individuality, and also how that then allows us in community to sort of balance each other out, right? So feed off each other's strengths and maybe support whatever needs there are so that we can, complement each other, and that generates a sense of safety. So
Thank
Navi,
you.
that's so similar to what our group went right into. That was one of the first things, was we went right into how to you feel safe. It's being, heard out, and by being heard out, you feel seen. And whether or not you're having difficult conversations, which our group led right into tough topics, it's hearing each other out in a respectful way, and then as a result, you feel like your voice is heard. So it's very similar.
Love it. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. If everyone would, if you can put like maybe a one word, what community safety is for you in the chat, and we can all see it as we move forward to the next slide. Thank you. And so just to let you know, we are here with Share Our America. Please visit our website. We're here to support you. And even in terms of like integrating the two with your 10 Days of Connection experience and Share Our America, that is possible. Please go ahead and join us there. Feel free to email me. And if you have any questions or thoughts or concerns, please don't hesitate to reach out. Thank you so much. And I turn it over to you.
Thank you so much, Nicole. I know that the time was limited, and I always hate to be the one closing the rooms, because I always know that people, when they come back, it's like, oh my God, I didn't have time to finish talking. So we hope to have more spaces like this one, so that we can continue sharing our experience and what we learned today. And as always, also thank you so much, Nicole, for sharing your expertise and your knowledge on this topic. I know we're going to continue having these type of conversations, not only between now to the 10 Days of Connection, but during the 10 Days of Connection itself. Again, thank you so much. A round of applause for Nicole. I wanted for us to move on into the next part of the workshop for the last 10 minutes that we have together, which is related from plan to action and how to upload your connection experience. I'm so excited to be here and sharing this news with you all. So for those who weren't able to join us at the Meeting of the Minds, we share with you all that for the first year, we are developing a technology just for 10 Days of Connection, so that all of connection experiences live under one calendar, and participants would be able to log in just once and sign up to as many connection experiences as possible without going through different sign-up links as we have done it before. So one, we want to say thank you so much for your patience when we are developing this one. And officially, we are live with our 10 Days of Connection event platform. So what I wanted to share with you all for the over the next minutes is the step-on-step on how you can start uploading your connection experiences, since it's going to be a little bit different than what we have been doing over the last years. So Shirley is going to be dropping on the chat the link for you to log in and check out the event platform. It's going to be events.10daysofconnection.org/create an account host. And you got to make sure that you are on this green screen so that you can create your account. So that's going to be your first step. You're going to sign up with your organization's name, your preferred email, and password. Once you do join the movement as a host, you click on join the movement as a host. The platform is going to give you one email. It's going to send you one email for you to validate your account and verify your account. So you're going to get that number so that you can put it on into the platform itself. And then once you put the validation number, you're going to be able to log in into what's going to be your backend as a host. So over here is where you are going to be able to see all of the events that you are going to be hosting for 10 Days of Connection, and the ones that you are organizing or co-hosting with other organizations. The fourth step that you need to do is making sure that you complete your profile. So on the upper left side of the page, you would have a button that says edit your profile. And over there, you would be able to add your organization's name. Please make sure you also add your either website or social media handle so that people would have availability and access to how to connect with you even after the 10 days of connection. Over there, you can also respond any of the demographic questions if you feel comfortable to do it. And then towards the end, please make sure you add your logo, your organization's logo, so that people also can recognize your organization visually. Let's skip this one because I couldn't find the logo when I was doing the sign up for us. So make sure you upload your logo and then save changes. And then with that, you will have your profile created. We'll be able to do it from the Radical Partners tip, enable your profile so that with that, you'll be able to create your event. In order for you to create your event, you have on the right side of the page a button that says create event. And then over there, this is what used to be our Google form when you uploaded all of information about your event. So you'll be able to do it directly over there, adding the name of your event, the dates, start date and date and time for your event specifically. Making sure that you have also your event description. Over there, you're also going to be able to select if your event is going to be in person, if it's going to be virtual or hybrid. So depending on what click you or on what selection you do, when the event is virtual, it's going to ask you to add the link to connect, like either the Zoom link or the Google Meet to connect. And then when it is in person, it's going to ask you for the address specifically. You also have the possibility over there to share if your event is going to be public or private. And then, as always, we'll also ask you to please make sure you select the right filter. So where is your connection experience working towards which solution, towards which topic, and then what's going to be the level of intensity. And then the last question that is going to ask you is about the accessibility questions. So you'll be able to select multiple filter options. And then finally, it's going to ask you to upload an image regarding the event itself. So this could be either your logo or an image that is related to the event. So once you do that, you're going to create your event. You're going to click create event. And that is going to come up to us so that we'll be able to make it available for you all. So once you create the event, first it's going to stand as pending so that we can go on the back end, make it available. And then once we make it available on the back end, you will have your event changing from pending to available. You'll be able to see the page of your event and also the button that says download. It's going to allow you to download the database of the people that RSVP to the event. So you always are gonna have access to the participants of your event, even the day before. The other cool thing about the platform is that it sends automatic emails to participants once they sign up to your event, and then a reminder the day before. So that's why it's so important for you all to add the important information when you're uploading the event itself. So your event, it's gonna look like this. Your event page is gonna look like this. You'll be able also to share your individual event to anybody on your database. And at the end, this is how the populated calendar of events where all of the events that are happening within the 10 days of connection is going to look like. So you will have different little cards where you will have the event description, the event name, date and time, and people will only have to click once on subscribe or RSVP. And with that, they have signed up to your event. So we know these are a lot of new changes and new things happening during this year's 10 days of connection. So I wanted to add this exclamation point because we know as this is a new thing that we're doing, we also ask you for your support in the case that you see some backend problems, or if you have some problems to connect, please make sure to email us and we'll be able to troubleshoot as soon as possible. We are excited about this new technology that we are launching this year so that we can have more participants to join to multiple events during the 10 days of connection. So with that, I'm gonna stop because I know we had a lot of information. We're also gonna make sure to send you a guide on this end, and also, again, our email and office hours are available so that we can help you create your account. So with that said, I also wanted for us to do as always, one little feedback session. So please let us know what do you think about the workshop? Let us know if you have any specific questions about the workshop. So we're gonna drop the link in the chat for our feedback survey, and I'm gonna play half of one song so that I can share with you all as well our next steps regarding the 10 days of connection. Yes, Nicole, you have a question?
I do. So in our group, one of the things that came up was people wanting to be able to connect afterwards. Is it possible, if people are willing to put their contact information in the chat
Yes,
to
of course.
share? Is that possible? Okay,
Definitely.
thank you.
Definitely. So I put half of one